Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club, your number one stop for stellar reviews of volumes, arcs, or stories that us or yourselves choose. You can find us live every Wednesday on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and the replay on all podcast networks. Take a seat, get yourselves and your opinions ready, as it's time to join the herd. But first, please put your hands together for your hosts, Shane, Phil, and Scott, as they kick off this week's discussion. Hello everyone, welcome to the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club. It is the final episode of this entire season. We've done another 52 episodes. How amazing is that, first of all?
Sounds exhausting, but amazing.
Every single week for 52 weeks we've gotten together and we've spoken about loads of different comic books, and it's awesome. And we're not going to stop with the momentum. We're going to start season 3 right again next week. But anyway, my name is Scott. I'm joined by the boys as usual. I have here Shane.
Oh, hoy hoy, I thought you forgot my name then.
Sorry, I've got up here Phil.
Hello.
And if you haven't seen already on the screen, or if you're listening to the podcast, it is our Herd's Choice pick today, and we are joined by Connie.
Hi.
And she has gone ahead and chosen Hotell Volume 1 from AWA. This covers issues 1 to 4, written by John Lee, art by Dalibor Talajic, colours by Lee Luffridge, and letters by Sal Cipriano.
Another Italian sounding name. You're good at that, Scott.
Mate, it's just thank you. I'll go to Italy. I'll just blend right in.
Yeah. It's all the pasta he eats.
But before we get into the synopsis, let's have a quick hello to see who's here. So we got Pete. Oh, maybe not. Not going to be able to join tonight's chat, chaps. Have a good show. We'll watch the rewind, but it's a preemptive 9 for me. Ooh, okay, already a score. Thank you very much.
Nice.
James Copley is in. Yo, yo, yo in the house. Hello. This week in Metropolis. Evening dudes, James here. Hi, James. Looking forward to hearing about this one. Nice. Martin, evening all. Hello. Do we have anyone else? Kev's here. Evening, everyone. Hello. And we have Wednesday spoiler. Hell. Oh, everyone. Nice one.
Well done.
That's good. Yeah, good job, good job. And we've got Lewis Deacon as well. Hello all. Nice to see you all. We're missing someone from the chat. There's something like Sunstorm and Thunderclap. Connie Dalton.
Yeah, where's she at?
Yeah, she's not there.
I wonder where.
There she is. There she is. Okay, so before we start talking about the book, we always need to tell you guys what the book's about. And it is Connie's job today to give you guys the synopsis. Doesn't matter how long or short it is, Con. Could you please take it away?
So, the Pierrot Courts Hotel is somewhat of an urban myth. It exists on no maps, and it can only be found by those seeking shelter, sanctuary, or secrecy. Or does it find you? Basically, Volume 1 of Hotell by John Lees and Dalibor Talajic contains 4 interconnected stories about the horrors contained in the Pierrot Courts' 4 basic rooms and its mysterious grounds. It's like the nicest way I could sum it up, without giving all of the story away.
Yeah, no, that was great, very concise, and still had a little bit of mystery sprinkled in there as well. So for anyone who hasn't read it, if you don't want to be spoiled, leave now, but don't leave, stay. And then just mute this, I don't know. But yes, okay, let's crack on. I can't remember who went last week. Phil hosted, so Phil can kick us off. What did you think, buddy?
First of all, I just had a chocolate hobnob and a bit stuck in my throat. So if I end up coughing, that's what it is. Okay, just a chocolate hobnob. No. To be honest, I don't know what to make of this initially. I don't want to sound negative because I'm not negative towards it. It's a good story and it's kind of clever the way it's all intertwined. I just can't get on board with like really weird, freaky stuff. Like it just doesn't sit well with me. It's just not my thing. That doesn't make it a bad book. It just makes it not for me. Like you've got like creepy little hairy babies like munching on women's boobs, and demons, and like white giant clowns come out of a picture and sucking people's souls. It's not quite Nameless mad. Nameless was bonkers.
Yeah.
But this isn't too far behind in the weirdness. But I still like the overall idea of the hotel. Like you mentioned, sanctuary and secrecy. I still like that. It's just when things get a bit too odd, even though it's comic books and comic books are far fetched. It just I'm not into it. It's just not my thing. That's it.
Oh.
Go on, Shane. We'll have a polarizing opinion because it sounds like you have one.
I didn't think this was weird at all. I thought it was beautifully written, so cleverly crafted to intertwine the 4 stories so you don't notice it at first. So you have your standalone issues if you want to just read them, but there are just little, nuggets in each issue that tie into another issue, and it's just, I thought it was masterfully done to keep you interested and also to give you those individual stories. Because, the first one is the mother and the child, and, that's a story of empowerment. And then you have the second story, which is the husband killing his wife and her getting revenge, which, is a story of like satisfaction at the end when she kills him. And then the third one is super sad. That's a really sad story. And then the fourth one just ties it all together, and you finally see what Pierrot Clown can do, and why you're always focused on the painting at the start of every issue. I thought it was fantastic.
I think I'm definitely in between both of you. Like, yeah, Phil, it definitely wasn't. It's not a book for me. But yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad book. I just found it a bit too gross in terms of issue 2, where the husband kills his wife and you see the panels of him chopping her up. And I'm like, too much. Mm-hmm. For me, too far. I don't want to see that. Like, I don't mind being told it happened or having, a little breadcrumb trail of, leading us to the fact that it had happened. But I don't want to see it. I'm trying to... read comics to have a good time and not just, have this imagery. But I really did love how it all linked together and how the whole story is basically, every issue is on the same day, pretty much, isn't it? And I did enjoy that. All of this different stuff is happening at the same time, more or less. And I thought that was really cool. But yeah, just a few things were a bit mental. Yeah, the hairy demon baby.
Book,
yeah, well, like,
it's supposed to have gore in a horror book. Otherwise, I mean, it can't make you jump, so it has to be gory.
Well, it tried to make you jump. There was a scene whenever it was the sister was in the bathroom. I remember the 2 hands popped out.
Yeah.
That was
I'm
assuming to be a jump. Yeah.
You don't do that while reading.
Yeah. Maybe I did, Shane. Maybe I did. And I think they tried for jump scares almost in a way, in a strange way for that. But then that's obviously one of the things that linked the story. So that's what we're saying. Like, I think that's really well done. And as I said, it's not a bad book. It's not a bad story. It's just not my cup of tea. And as for the chop up the wife thing, it is pretty horrendous. Like, I mean, we've seen graphic stuff before in comics, but the idea of this, like, chopping up your wife's body to dispose of it, then for it to reappear and then kill her again, and then it's just it's weird, it's odd.
So Connie, you chose the book.
Yeah.
Why did you choose the book, and what do you think about it?
See, now I feel like it makes me sound like unhinged because you guys are like, it's so gory. It's not that bad. Like, it's not like, this isn't the worst thing you will ever see. But I really liked it. I love stories where, like, breadcrumbs kind of lead you into the next issue. And even though they're not, like, completely connected, they're still connected in certain ways. And then at the end, it all ties together. It's like one big story. It's like the Halloween version of Love Actually. Like, I love it. I really like this story, like the vibe of it. It kind of gives me, do you know the song Hotel California by the Eagles? Mm-hmm. It really gives me the same sort of vibes of that song, like the you can check in but you can never leave type of a thing. Like, I love it. So
I actually forget what that song is. Connie, can you remind me?
I'm not singing it. Take it away, Scott.
Nice
go.
try.
You can sing it.
I don't know the words, sorry. No. Yeah.
But no, I love horror and I love like Halloween and spooky season. So this really
See,
got me in the mood for it to be Halloween.
I also love
Absolutely.
Halloween and horror, but just nothing too grotesque. Again, this isn't the most grotesque, but horror can be subtle but horrific. You know, just like again, shutting up your wife, or you know, having your eyes blown up, and it's just it's I don't know. Again, I'm glad everyone else liked it. It's just not for me, and that's where I'm standing with it.
I love that. I love that when Ted rocks up with his eyes out and Alice walks out with the baby and she's like, "It's a boy," and just hands it to him. I was like, "Oh, mic drop! What a great end to issue 1."
But then you
And
don't
then if you
see
look in
how
the background,
you don't see
no,
how
there's
that
an
carries
explosion.
on until
You do in
the
the
last
last
issue.
Until issue
Exactly.
4,
Yeah.
yes. Because it's not just like this mic drop moment of her taking back her power from her abusive husband or boyfriend. Also in the background, you've got someone's on fire walking out of a room and you have no idea who that is. And there was
No.
an explosion and you have no idea what that is. So then issue 4 comes and you're like, that's who was on fire. It was so cool.
Yeah, it is cool how it goes full circle and rounds it all up. But when we get to the writing, I'll talk about a few things that I was like, what is this? But we'll come to that later. What did you think of the art? I mean, I've never heard of Dalibor Talajic, but I wasn't unhappy with it. It was good.
Wasn't
Yeah.
unhappy, but wasn't blown away either. It was just
My word, yeah. Exactly.
It was just nice, safe, consistent.
I think
Um,
I'd go a little bit further than that. I wasn't blown away, but I thought it was really good for this story. It was dark
Yeah.
and it fit the tone of this story, but we have seen better art. I'm not gonna, pump it up too much.
It's
No.
it suits what this story needs to do, in my opinion. Like, not all comics need to be like Alex Ross lifelike
No.
artistic pieces. I think it suits being just safe, consistent. You can tell who the characters are, that type of
Yeah.
thing.
You know where
I mean,
they
the
are,
covers
who
are
they are,
gorgeous.
and what they're doing.
Yeah.
And
The
that's
cover
it.
to issue 1 is phenomenal with the people in the windows.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you zoom in, like if you're reading it digitally and you zoom in, they are like so well detailed for like characters this big on the page.
Great. Very good at blood and guts. The artist, the thing is, like, Shane and Connie are nodding like yes, yes. Me and Phil are like, ugh. But that's not saying it's a bad thing against the book. It's just not our thing.
Yeah.
I should say hi to Liam. Howdy ho! Thank you very much for joining. And he does say, "Gutted I wasn't able to read this. Sounds right up mine and Beth Street. 100%. They are massive
Absolutely.
horror fans." And Kev is saying that Phil looks like he has returned from a war and has seen some things. You weren't there,
have.
man. You weren't there, man.
Saw issue 2 of this.
But apart from the pages that we picked, were there any standout moments in this book for you, art-wise, good or bad?
I think it was all good, like the character designs of the creatures and the demons and the little baby monster, but the best character design in this book is the serial killer in the walls.
I was going to say
Yeah.
the same
Like
thing.
he's all like decrepit and he's like gaunt and skinny and he's like climbing along the walls and he's just a bag of bones, and he was really, really, that was a good design. He was really perfect for that story.
Yeah. No, totally.
And a great twist to that one. I mean, obviously, I thought she'd find her sister. I didn't know he'd still be alive in the walls. That was like, oh my! That's one of my biggest fears. Like someone living in the walls of my house, or the attic. And so those kinds of films really get me, like worse than any kind of horror film.
You know
people
what?
living in the walls.
I've never been in my attic, and I've lived here for 5 years. Who knows what's up there?
There
Who
could be
knows?
people up there. You've got to
Could be
check.
like-
You've always got to check.
could be
Once
at
a week.
least
You've always got
one-
to check.
Once a week.
The movie The Boy, have you seen it?
Yes, I love The Boy.
I really feel like that fear stems from that movie, and that issue of this comic really triggered that, like, is there somebody in here? Like,
Not twice.
halfway looking for, like, echoes.
I've never seen that movie, but isn't it the People Under the Stairs? That's another one where they were living in the
Yeah.
walls, also, wasn't it? Yeah, that's freaky too.
If you don't want people living in your walls, when you go out, just put She-Hulk on. They'll be gone by the time you get back.
Wow.
I haven't watched it, so
Burn, burn, burn. There's enough fire in this book already. Jeez, calm down. So okay, let's go on to our pages, shall we? Before we do go onto pages, I've just had a quick look at them, and I should say that there is a trigger warning. We do have some blood, some gory stuff.
Yes.
All graphic.
It's a horror book. What do you expect?
Please, if you have children around, shut their eyes or tell them to go away. I mean, or if you're a bit icky with this, then just turn the screen down for a minute. Anyway, okay. So,
as Phil and Scott close their laptops.
yeah, bye guys. Yeah. Okay. So, Connie, as you're the guest of honor today, we will start off with you. So here is your page.
yeah. So I picked this page because the colors in this book the whole way throughout are very like hazy, kind of how you would like imagine Route 66, like sandy, like it's all kind of in the same color family. And then you get to this page and it's just like Rainbow Lake. It's one of the pages that really stands out in the book to me because it is so brightly colored, and it's like the first hint that something's about to go wrong in this issue for me. So I was like, oh, don't trust the Rainbow Lake. So that's why I picked this page. It's just because it's such a standout color-wise for the rest of the story, basically.
So don't trust the Rainbow Lake, but still stick your hand at it.
Yeah, pretty much.
He taints it when it touches it because he's evil.
Mm-hmm.
The Rainbow Lake knows.
That's what that black stuff is at the bottom, is it?
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's stuff like this. As this isn't a book I enjoyed, I probably skipped over things and just was like, get it done, But again, I'm not saying anything bad about the writing itself. So yeah, maybe because of that, I did miss a few things, and maybe you can change my mind here or there. Okay, we'll go clockwise. Phil, over to you.
Again, not so much about the art itself. It was more about the chaos that it's able to show us. Like this is the issue 1. So the girls, I forget her name. She's just this,
Alice.
like, she's just killed this whatever it is. This gremlin baby. Steps outside. The place is on fire. It exploded. The place is on fire. There's a guy on fire. Her abusive boyfriend he's just weighed in with no eyes. And like, here you go. It's a boy. Like, there's still a lot on this page to really take in. It's like, this is just a bit chaotic. Art wise, again, I'm a fan of pinks and purples, and there's a lot of pinks and purples on this, and I like this page. But yeah, chaotic.
It's such a great way to finish the first issue.
Yeah.
It definitely leaves you asking, what?
WTF? Yeah.
Yeah, what the hotel? Yeah. But yeah, it was it was definitely intriguing having an ending like that. For the first issue, and if you were buying this in singles, you are gonna go, why was that fire happening? Who is that person on fire? And what happens to this to this woman and whatever. And you do find out a bit later on, but it leaves such a cliffhanger for the whole four issues. Shane, I'll go over to you. Here we go.
So yes, this is Bobby killing Muriel for the second time. I love this page. It's the way he swings the axe and takes half her face off, and then it sticks to the ceiling.
He's laughing. That's how sick he
Stop
is.
laughing.
He's laughing.
It's such a great page. She's just standing there, headless, blood shooting out, and he's just like hacking her to bits. He's like, it'll stick this time. This time it will stick because I won't take my eyes off you. You won't come back this time. And then, like, in the next page, everything just starts coming back, like the T-1000. But it's the face on the ceiling. It's fantastic. It's so creative. Just half her face dripping off the ceiling. I love it.
Sicko.
Yeah, this was something that I was trying to get past quickly. I just don't do well with this kind of imagery, and it's all personal preference, but it's too much.
This is
too
what I
hard.
want in my horror books.
Well, that's fine. That's totally fine. No one will say you're weird. Okay.
I am
Okay.
saying it.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Okay, we'll do mine. Here we go. A nice, non-bloody, gory page. There we go. This is in the third issue. I can't remember any names where that woman was looking for her sister. She's like a journalist, convinced.
Kristen.
Convinced that she was still in this building somehow, and she finds a way, like basically through behind the walls in the sewers or whatever, by the looks of it, and just finds herself, in the hotel essentially, and I kind of like this blueprint kind of look. It reminded me of when we read Black Widow and we had that kind of labyrinth kind of map. It reminded me of that. I do kind of like a floor plan kind of picture. It's cool. And this is not horror related at all, but I liked it. This is a page that I could get on with, and I stayed here for a while. This was like my palate cleanser whilst reading this book, because I read the whole thing in one go, all 4 issues in one hit. This is a bit of a palate cleanser for me.
See, I find a page like this, like obviously yes, the kind of blueprint of the building, but it's the 4 panels of her in the tunnel in the dark with just her phone, light of her phone. Like I find that's enough, like subtle, like horror to build suspense.
Yeah.
Without the gore. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you're in a horror book whenever someone's going in a dark tunnel with just a phone. You don't need to have someone chopping half their face off and sticking to the ceiling and drooping down. It's just. I just think there's other ways
You don't have to, but you should.
I think this book combines different types of horror very well. Like, it has the suspenseful moments where she's in the tunnel and it's dark and it's scary. It has the sort of the psychological thriller aspect with the girl in the first issue, Alice, and the sort of, I'm losing my mind, I'm having these crazy dreams. Like, she really thinks she's losing her grip. It has like the normal horror where it's like all gory and bloody, and then in the final one it has like the supernatural kind of horror as well. So I really like the combination of like different types of horror, but maybe that's just me.
I love the way you describe the normal horror with like blood and guts.
That's
the
stereotypical like scream queen kind of horror, like.
But yeah, okay, great. So there we go. That's my page. We had one more sent in to us from Pete from Triple G Comics. Here it is. This is the one where the creepy, hairy demon baby is trying to be like, "Mommy, I love you." So his reason for liking this page is, he said, "This is the best page. It's something about its hands on her legs at the end that is just so disturbing."
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the motion is going to be like he wants to be the baby that she's carrying, and it's like, yes, very disturbing.
He wanted to eat the baby, didn't he?
Yeah.
Wanted to eat and replace the baby, like a changeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spit it out in bits, and it's like,
that last panel is freak A.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
the next page where she's like, when she like strangles him, but then she's still holding him, like the maternal instinct is still there for this baby that's not even hers.
Messed up, man.
Yeah.
See,
So messed up.
So messed up. It's awesome.
So messed up. The total opposite of so cool. So messed up. So messed up. Yeah, right. There we go. So that's the art. If that tickles anyone's pickle, then go ahead and pick this book up. Right. Let's get on to the story. Oh, actually, we've got a comment here from James. He says, "The page I would have picked but don't have the comic available at the minute would have been the splash page of the network of tunnels and doors." Ha ha! I thought the design of the panels was great. Me too. Good job, James.
so we have two sickos in the house and 2 architects.
Architects, yeah. And Phil. We have Phil.
Yeah.
So over to the writing and the story. I feel like this is a kind of book where we could literally have 5 minutes per issue. You know what I mean? We could literally talk about each one as a whole. So, how do you feel about giving that a go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, did you just throw your pen down?
Sorry.
Did you
Yeah, I
just
was
mic
ready.
drop?
Let's go. Yeah, this is my pen drop. So the first issue, obviously, we start off straight away, at the hotel, and he's, we got the hotel owner kind of going, showing us the wall and the painting, and then at the start, and we have no idea who this clown is and why it's so creepy and weird, and then we follow the story of Alice. You said, Shane?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it Alice? Yeah. Yeah, she's a pregnant woman that's just turned up on her own, and you later learn that she's trying to escape her abusive boyfriend, and then it doesn't take long to get weird, does it? It takes about 3 pages.
Yeah.
And then we're in kind of her head, her dreams or something, where you don't learn it straight away, but the demon baby is talking to her through her dreams, and you have like these psychedelic looking pages, and it's just naked babies and this naked woman just floating around talking to her.
Pretty much.
I mean, did I look? I took it like some sort of way, like, should I say this? Like, were they in like her womb or something? Like, it looked like they were in, like, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, inside
In the dream, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the
In the
placenta or
dream, yeah.
something, like the cord, whatever it's called, a cord's called.
Umbilical cord.
That's the one. Right, I cut it twice. I don't know what it's called.
You have
Yeah. They
You're
don't have
okay.
a cord of their
Twice.
own, like, yeah. But it's just yeah, it's odd. Like, why is she in it? Do you know what I mean?
well,
Because
it's
the,
meant
the baby says it keeps her safe. Like, that she is safe in there with the baby. The baby's protecting her.
Yeah, but that's
she's
in
keeping
her.
him
So how, do
safe.
you know what I mean? It's like,
Well, he's also trying to convince her that he's the baby inside her. So
Yeah.
what better way than to pull her in so that she can see the baby inside her? He's confused. He's not the baby, is he? He's not the baby inside her. He's the demon child.
Demon hairy baby.
see,
The
it's
demon
weird. Isn't it?
hairy baby.
It's weird. It's weird. It's odd.
I like how subtle in the writing, like the first hints that something isn't right in this book are, because when I originally read this book, I don't think it clicked in my head it was a horror story. I think I just saw it on like Kindle Unlimited, and I had heard like Pete talking about it, so I was like, I'll get it, I'll see what it's about. But I had listened to no reviews, read no reviews, and immediately it's like, oh, we have a solar eclipse, but sometimes I feel like our sky is different. I feel like things aren't right out here. The clerks all look at this weird clown. There's no TV and no phone signal. And immediately in a horror movie, that's how you know it's going to be like scary, that there's no phone signal. So I was like, great. And then it's like, there's a creepy path that we recommend you don't go down. And I was like, somebody's going to go down the path.
Yes, but take me a room, please. Do you know what I mean? Like, why would you take a room in this motel? Like, why? Okay.
So I love
keep
like
driving.
the little hints that he's just clearly dropping, being like, this is not a good place, but you're still here. Like,
You're gonna die. You're gonna die.
pretty much.
Welcome to the
Not
hotel. Here's your key.
Not
Breakfast is at
everybody
7.
dies.
No, it depends. If you can best your demons like Alice does, then you get to leave. You know, if she hadn't have bested her own personal demon, she would have died as well. But because she's the only one that bested her demon, she got to leave.
See, this is what I was gonna
oh.
ask. Sorry, go ahead, Connor.
I was just going to say, I really liked how issue 1. So when I had originally read this, because I reread it for tonight's show, when I had originally read this, I thought issues 1 and 2 were connected, and then issues 3 was a separate story, and then it was only going to connect to issue 4, because by that stage, I had completely forgot about the burning guy in the background, because so much goes on in this book. Like, that's why, like, how many little details there are in this book, but you forget about a guy literally on fire. So then when I realized that issue 4 linked to issue 1, and then there was little breadcrumbs on my reread, I was like, obsessed.
Because you see a breadcrumb from every issue. So you have Muriel and Bobby, who are in who she meets. Then the arms come through the wall
The arms.
from Kristen being attacked by the serial killer, and then at the end the explosion. So cleverly done.
See, that part it is definitely clever, and I totally appreciate that. Again, maybe like Scott mentioned earlier on, because it's not our thing, we didn't pick up on all the little details. So my understanding was that nobody leaves the hotel. I think there was like one record of one person leaving, and that was someone survived, didn't they? I can't remember what it was now.
Yeah.
There was one person was able to leave, but yet, so does Alice, the pregnant doll, does she live?
Yeah, she leaves
Yeah.
with Cody at the
For
end.
that boy, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. So the boy no longer has this demon inside him because it's been sucked
No.
out by the white giant.
The Pierrot clown took it out, didn't he? Because he feeds on people's personal demons. So he feeds on demons and just.
Is this like a myth that period? Is that what it's pronounced?
I think it comes from like all like the horror stories that come from Route 66, like ghost towns and like secret little motels that pop up, because it is literally just a giant stretch of road. So there's like loads of urban myths about it. But I don't think that particular clown is one, at least not to my knowledge. I hope
just
not.
thinking there's something in the background there about that character's that name or something, or is it just completely made up?
Pierrot clown is a real character, yeah.
Oh,
I remember my sister had. I remember like I'm talking like 30 odd years ago. My sister had the bed cover of Pierrot Clown, and she had like the doll of him, and he was freaky as hell. And
was
like,
it a kid's cartoon or like
No, it's just like this old-fashioned, old-timey clown, because like Pierrot is a clown. So he's just this like white and black with his cone hat, and very creepy looking clown.
Why would you have your bed clothes?
I was going to say, I'm horrified that you had a doll of it.
Yeah.
That's so scary.
You could put it on a little rocking chair, and it's like, no, don't do that, because you know if that's not moving.
Nope. I'm about to enter the Team Phil here. Like, no thanks. Not a rocket chair clown. You've lost me.
Team Phil. We are all Team Phil anyway.
Are we?
Yeah. I see Sonic's Comics comment there about Ice Cream Man, and I haven't read Ice Cream Man, but that's the vibe I'm getting from when people describe that, and that's one of the reasons why I haven't read Ice Cream Man, because I don't like to verge on that level of creepiness and psychotic nature and demonic, and like I like horror books, but I prefer it a bit more subtle. And again, there's just certain things I don't think I picked up on from this story that you guys have described that maybe I did if they didn't have all the body chopping and the repeated murder of the guy's wife. But I do have one question though, because when he first killed his wife, I know we're talking about issue 1 or whatever, but he first killed his wife, and then he comes back and he flirts with the pregnant woman, wants to hang out with her. Then his wife's back. I know he has like a weird face, like, oh god, what is this? But he still willingly goes into the room.
Did she not grab his arm and pull him in?
I'd be still running away, like, stuff you, I'm away. Come on. You wouldn't go into the room and just like wait for this to unfold. Like, okay, I cut you up in like a dozen pieces,
This is why he went in there. He's like, I can't. If she's alive, I can't have her going around telling people I chopped her up and threw her in a lake.
No one's gonna believe her because she's there, she's standing right there. He chopped me up. Oh, did he? You look all right to me. Like, it's okay. You can get away. Run. This is your chance.
Yeah, but it might be the same as with Alice. Like every time she wanted to leave, she just fell asleep because the hotel wasn't finished with her. So it wasn't finished with him. He had to get his comeuppance.
And he deserved it.
That's what I liked about issue 1. Like when you see Muriel open the door and she's like, Bobby, and he looks at her and you see he's a bit like, he looks confused, and she's like, thank you for finding my husband. And you're like, oh, that's weird. But then you don't see anything for the rest of the issue. And then they get their own issue too. It's like just that little snippet of his face. You're like, something's up there. We need to see what's in room 2 now. I'm coming back for room 2.
Well, let's move on to that then, how that issue goes.
Room 2, Bobby's so sneaky.
Yeah,
it's like, you check in on your own because work thinks I'm sick, so I shouldn't be here.
That was clever. Like he's that all came together. Obviously, he was planning this the whole time. Never off work. Yeah, you check in because I don't want to have any record that I'm here, because you're going to disappear, and I don't want to have I want to claim insurance or whatever it is. I don't want you near me. But yeah, strange story.
Before you carry on, I think I found a picture of that doll online, and I just added it onto here if you want to see. Shane, is this it? Similar?
Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
There we go.
Creepy. Now imagine that over a bed cover, over a duvet cover as well. Just his face and his massive body. Just, why?
How old was your sister?
My sister's 10 years older than me, so she would have been about 15 at the time.
Freaky.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Anyway, back to the issue. He was really clever, wasn't he? Trying to cover his tracks and get her to do everything to make it make himself sound cool and trying to keep away from work. And I don't know what it was. It was supposed to be like this sexy, freaky, romantic getaway, wasn't it? Like that's how he kind of spun it, and then that's not obviously what he had planned. Like the thing that got me was when they went to that lake, the Rainbow Lake. And he put his hand in, and he just went, "Yeah, this is deep enough." Or something. He said something like that, didn't he? And
Yeah,
I was
Like, if this is perfect.
yeah, I was like, "For what?" And then it goes, and then starts to.
I know we've talked a lot about like the gore in this issue, but I thought parts of it were actually like kind of funny as well, because there's a bit where she's just dragged him back into the room after he's been talking to Alice. He has just chopped her up and she's alive again. And she turns around and is like, "I hope you know that you completely ruined our vacation." Like he's like throwing a strop about the fact he's ruined the vacation, not about the fact he poisoned, killed, chopped her up, and then threw her in a lake. Nothing like that. It's more, we were having a lovely time, and you ruined it.
And the
like,
comment,
I love that.
it was something like, I still love you. We can fix this.
Mhm.
And I was like, what? No, but she didn't remember all the deaths, did she?
Yeah.
So she was like, it's fine. I still love you. We can fix this. We can get through this. And he's like, I've killed you a few times now. I didn't actually clock on until you said, Shane, that this was a story about inner demons. Again, I'm just trying to blast through the book. But it was, now that you're saying it, I think I'm liking it a bit more. Because
everyone brought their demons to the hotel.
Yeah, and I was wondering what. Obviously, it's the hotel that's doing all this stuff to the people, but I was wondering, was it something that the hotel was just deciding to do based on the situation, or
it says in the last issue, like the clerk is like, you bring your demons here, and then he kind of goes, "But I wish that was the only demon that was here, was like your internal demons," hinting at the fact that like there's something darker in the hotel as well, which is obviously like the Pierrot clown. So like, I think like it's a mix of both, maybe, where it's because, like the hotel's a bit, but there's also like internal demons and stuff.
This story is it still ongoing? Because I know there's a volume 2.
Volume 2's out, but I don't know if they're continuing from Volume 2. I don't know if Volume 2 wraps it up or not.
Who knows? Okay,
Who knows?
Well, I can have a look at that. Sorry, Phil, you were going to say something. I disturbed you.
Was I?
Yeah.
The whole idea, the whole tale, again, I keep jumping issues, sorry, but is the journalist woman was kept driving for ages trying to find this hotel that appeared. And that, again, that's something I quite like, that this is here for when, not when you need it, but when like your inner demon or whatever, whenever it's the right time to go to it, type of thing. Mm-hmm. And I do think that's cool. There's no question. I don't know. I'm still a bit perturbed by the whole thing. But see, Bobby, how did Bobby die? I forget. I only read it 2 years ago.
A sludge monster in the suitcase that had Muriel's body in it ate him. And then she pushed him in. And then she threw him in the lake. But he doesn't come back.
Just when you thought it couldn't get weirder. A sludge monster.
Sludge.
This was my only problem with the writing, I guess. Like, nothing to do with my own views or whatever, but it was just, there were these unexplained things. You had the hairy demon baby and you had the sludge in the suitcase. Like, where did they come from? Like, how is the murderer still alive, after all these years in issue 3? Like, how? Why? Like, where?
I think that's like the scariest thing about horror, though. You don't know everything. You don't get all the answers. Like, I am like a person who likes to know every detail. But I think like in a horror film, when they kind of leave like little details unanswered, that's the thing that plays in your head the most. Yeah. And I really enjoyed that about this, where you were like, well, how is he alive? Has he been stealing food? Has he been eating cockroaches?
Maybe he was feeding on bits of...
He could have been. Who knows? We don't. And I like that. I like that he came out kind of looking like the Grudge. Like, I, I really liked like the unanswered bits of this.
See, I get that too with him living there for years with no explanation. But just like Scott was saying, like the demon baby, it was physically there. Like I initially thought it was in her head type of thing, but then like she physically handed it to her
Well,
boyfriend.
it's playing on that like changeling myth. So like,
Again, more myths. I don't read myth books.
no, a changeling's essentially like it's like this. I think it's from Victorian times where people believed that sometimes a demon would come and replace your baby. So your baby was no longer your baby. You were actually just raising this like demon child, and they're called changelings. I think it's like based off of
See,
that.
Connor, you read actual books, so you have an advantage.
I just think I like horror. I think it's like a really common trope.
I took it as a manifestation of like all her pain and all her fear that she's gone through with her husband, and then the hotel turns that manifestation into physical form so that Pierrot can feed on it. Because the baby knows everything, the baby knows everything about her, knows who's hurt her and how to help her, because the baby gets her to cause the car accident that pushes Ted off the road and blows his car up and takes his eyes, and then they come up through the toilet for some reason, which was really creepy. But yeah, so I took it as you have your inner demons, you project them out, and then the hotel gives them a physical form.
Is this like an interpretation moment?
This is my
Wait. Interpretation. Yes. Yeah, this is a book very much open to everyone's opinions.
Yeah, because it's the same with issue 4 when they're trying to exorcise the boy. He clearly doesn't have a demon in him for the first half of the story. But because they're pushing and pushing and pushing it, the hotel is just like, boom, there you go, there's your demon.
Fine. Yeah.
I really like that how Cody, the boy with the demon, kind of gaslights both his dad and then the priest. Because he's like, his daddy's all like, I want to go home, like, I want to be a family, like, I want to go home to mom and all of this. And then when his dad's asleep to the priest, he's like, my dad's crazy, you need to help me, you need to help yourself. Like, he's like playing them off against each other until obviously the demon messes up. But I think it's great, like, because then you kind of do start to wonder, maybe Cody is a little like,
yeah, because
stuff.
It was so well done, you didn't know if he was or if this was just a crazy dad and a crazy priest.
Yeah. The other part that creeped me out too, when they were first introduced in issue 3, was it? Where the girl went to their door and you just see this little boy lying there, like,
hello.
Really strange expression in his face, like almost like sweating and all. Like, should we maybe investigate this? It's a bit further because something's not right here, and I don't know. I just find it odd.
But then she was like, "Sorry, I disturbed you. Bye."
Yeah, leave it to it.
Yeah.
This seems perfectly normal. I've got things to do. I'm not an investigative journalist at all. I'm not going to look into this any further.
If I was in a hotel and I knocked on and somebody was like, oh, my child's sick, like, sorry if they disturbed you, I'd be like, right, I'm away, see you later, have fun with that. I'm not getting involved with someone's sick kid. They can deal with that by themselves. He could have had a fever and that's why he's sweating.
Maybe. But we know that's not the case.
We know it was actually just the demon.
Or the massive gouge in the back of his head from headbutting the table. The blood loss.
Sorry, I've just seen some comments. This one people is saying, I love how bonkers this sounds. I will have to look for this one. Whilst we're on that, I did double check it. It does look like Volume 2 is it, and that has another 5 issues. So it's Volume 1, 1 to 4, Volume 2, 1 to 5. So there we go. Go
it's
check it out.
It's also on Kindle Unlimited if anybody wants to read it, or Prime Reading or whatever you have from Amazon. It's on that.
The bit that made me laugh was James saying, I'm starting to question if my 2-year-old daughter is a demon.
Read this book and find out.
But don't read it like with her around, otherwise she might cotton on. She might like, like, what are you reading, Dad? So we touched on we have touched on issue 3 now, really, haven't we? I think that was the least creepy, scary one at the end.
Yeah.
The only thing that really, like, maybe be like, "Ugh," was at the end where, you know, the murderer, creepy guy, is chasing her kind of through the sewery bits and catches her and chains her up. And then at the very last page then is the, you know, her sister's body next to her, and the panels get closer and closer to her face, and then she just turns.
Yeah.
You know, this kind of skeleton face just turns and looks, and then that's the end. And you're like, oh my God, what happens? And you never know.
She's like, I told you, get out. I told you to leave. I tried to save you, and you ignored me.
Is she still tied up down there? No.
Yeah.
She's either still tied up or she's been blown up. I think that was left quite open, the interpretation.
Little quick one. Dean is here. He says hello and good evening, and then he also says this series will definitely be coming back. I believe it's been optioned as well.
I heard that, but I googled it earlier trying to find who it had been optioned by, because I thought it would be like
AWA have they're starting their own movie for all their books. Essentially, will one day hopefully become shows or movies. Hopefully, they're good because
AWA have a lot of really good books that I've read. I think that they're definitely like a publisher to keep an eye out for. If you see any of their stuff's always cheap as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else AWA have read, and I think the only thing that comes to mind is Erratic.
Yeah, they also did Year Zero by Benjamin Percy, and they did Bad Mother by Krista Faust. And that other series that Krista Faust has just brought out, and The Jones, which is like their version of the Fantastic Four. They're really good. I quite like those.
There's another one called Crimson Cage, which is written by the same writer as this, which is kind of horror, but it's like based with wrestling. As a wrestling fan, I enjoyed it, and it has like Macbeth and stuff, but it's really, really good. But they've done a lot recently. Again, I think it's just the independent creators get to keep their own, their own rights to these things, and they hope that one day they make movies and rake it in.
This would make a great series as long as they kept like each issue as an episode and didn't add any filler or any like melodramatic drama or any teen drama. Just keep it as is.
Yeah. Well, if it's only 9 issues, I think that would be a perfect series, like a mini series length. Yeah. That's it. They wrap it up with that. That would be perfect. Depending on how volume 2 is. I haven't read it yet. But
the people that made Hill House, what's it called? The Haunting of Bly Manor and stuff like that. The ones that made those. They would do this justice.
Yeah,
see, I don't like those movies. I think, again, going back to kind of really overly sick, kind of, I don't like that thing. It's just a genre I don't tend to gravitate towards. So you're right by like saying this book would fit in amongst those. But again, I probably won't watch it. If they're gonna have like heads spinning and whatever else, possessions and all that, it's too much, man. It's too freaky, too creepy. I'll set it out.
Fair enough.
I forgot what I was going to say. The one thing I did enjoy most about the third issue was how you kind of had a few things cleaned up, like the arms through the wall, especially that's what that was from, and kind of link stuff together by having her being able to see through the mirror for the couple that were in issue 2, and being able to see through was it like a crack in the wall of the demon baby like breastfeeding the woman in issue 1. So it was nice, and it was cool. Even though Connie, like, I agreed with what you said earlier when you said it feels like issue 1 and 2 are linked and issue 3 and 4 are linked, but then like I still kind of agree with that. But then it's like you have that little bit then just to say, that is the big thing that lets you know this is all happening at the same time.
I think the bit where it didn't really fully click with me that this was all happening like at once simultaneously until she's looking through at the couple, and then when she's looking through at Alice and her baby, she goes, "Oh, it's just the mother and her child." It's like that thing has nails. Like, that's not a baby. Like, that has claws.
And then we have the final issue, really. The bit that confused me was when it started, the painting was different to how it was in issue 1. So I was like, why? How?
The eclipse.
Again?
The
Yeah, but I
eclipse
did.
was getting
I'm too
closer.
dumb. I don't clock this stuff, okay? Like, so. Yeah, but you know, that was that actually explained that the eclipse was making the picture change?
Well, the eclipse
Yeah.
is when he can get out. Yeah, that's what.
The eclipse has like the red lightning out the
Yeah.
side of it, and the clerk goes, "Oh no!" Like
Yeah.
he realizes that maybe there's a way to keep the demon in the painting. Who knows? But he's not there to do it because he's away to deal with the fire, and he realizes he's been too late.
Again, is this part of the myth? Like the eclipse is when the clown comes out or something? Is this, you know?
I
think
just
it's
learned
just
that this
made
was a real thing. So
Okay.
Phil's going to be like standing with like a hammer at the next eclipse, like you're not getting me, you spooky clown. Like, not a chance.
I won't have a picture of a clown in my house anyway. It's just who has a picture of a clown? Like, you know,
Weird
clown's
people.
one thing, but a picture of it in a hotel. Imagine checking
Well,
the
it's called
hotel
Pierrot
room before.
Courts. You've got to have a picture of the clown it's named after.
Then don't
Yeah.
name it after.
What was
I-
there
Like,
first?
why is it always a clown? Just name it something different.
Well,
Name it
In the
Travelodge.
first issue, he does say that the picture has been there for longer than anyone can remember. So did the picture come first, or did the hotel come first?
I think
Chicken or
the
the
Who
egg.
there.
The chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
I do love in the last issue though, where
Chicken or the
the
egg.
clerk goes, like it's fair to say it was a pretty busy weekend. Like, really? Are you sure? Like the demon baby, the serial killer, the man killing his wife, the demons. That was a busy weekend? No. Like,
Here we go. Phil Lewis has commented and saying his grandmother has 3 clown statues in her house. Really freaks me out. Like, are they like life-size clown statues, or are they little busts or something? Like,
That'll be worse if they were smaller. Like, what was that horror
Yeah.
movie years ago? Like, we had little kind of as a puppet masters. Is that the right puppet master?
Yeah.
Is that what like, oh no, that would freak me out even more. Oof.
everyone's ganging up on Phil now.
I'm not afraid of clowns. Just like giant clowns that come out of pictures and like suck people's souls. I draw the line there, you know.
That's fair enough. I mean, that's fair enough. Does anyone have any little additional things to say before we go into thoughts and scores?
I have a
I just have
question.
one. Go on.
So, did Karen die, or whatever the blonde woman's name was? Did she die?
Muriel.
Muriel?
No, she decided to
She's
stay on
stuck
at
in the hotel.
So she's
Yeah.
Okay,
She's
so she's in the hotel.
Well, he says she
well, she
decided
was talking to
to
the
stay on.
serial killer.
See, again, I think like Scott, like I've missed loads just based on the fact that certain things of this book took me out of the story. Not they're saying, "Oh, it takes me out of the story." You think it's just something people say. That literally took me out of the story. I think at times, so I have missed quite a few things. But that's the
Yeah,
story
'cause-
for you. That's just
The client
just-
says she decided to stay, and then she's tapping against the wall saying, "You're there, aren't you? I can hear you."
Yeah.
I remember that, but I didn't know she decided to stay. I thought maybe like does she walk away into the sunset? It's just I don't know.
I just want to like touch on the clerk. Like, I want to know more about his character because he tries to warn people against staying. Like, he tries to
Does he
warn
though?
Kristen against staying. Well, I have it written down that he says to Kristen, "I'll show you the room, but please don't stay here. This place
That's
is not kind to people in pain." And like, he is like, "Please don't stay. Like, get in your car and leave." And she's like, "No, I have to see this through." And he's like, "Well, don't say I didn't warn you." Like, I feel like he throughout is very like, you wanna go now? Okay, go. Like, bye. Like, he's very much like, get out. But I want to know, is he stuck there? Like, did he apply for this job through Indeed? Like, how did he get this job? Like, who is he? Did he drop his CV in one day? Like, how did he get there?
You'll have to read on, I guess, and find out.
Maybe he's a previous guest, like Muriel, and that's why he's like serving his time. Possibly.
Maybe. But that's all we've got.
I just have one more thing really quickly. What did you think when the Pierrot clown fed Ted the baby demon?
He had his comeuppance. That was
Yammed it down his throat, and then Ted's dead body is there with just this big pregnant belly.
Weird.
weird.
I thought that was a great way
but-
to finish the book again, because it started with a pregnant woman, ended with a pregnant man. It was a great way to bookend the book.
Great way, yeah. So good.
Ted wasn't a very nice person, so in my opinion, Ted kind of had it coming.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So,
I agree. Okay, thoughts and scores. Everyone in the chat who has read this book, please leave your score out of 10. We'll add it together, get an average, and you will be added to Connie's, and we'll get it all together and get a big score for the leaderboard to see where the very last book of the year ends up on our leaderboard. Will it be top 10? Will it be top 1? Will it push Magic Order off for the top spot? Who knows? But so yes, please get your scores in. Connie, would you mind kicking us off with what you thought and your score, please?
so I love this book. I really enjoyed it the first time I read it, but I think I enjoyed it even more the second time because I was specifically like picking up on details that I hadn't noticed. Like, I feel like when I read it, I kind of did what Scott and Phil did, where they maybe were skim reading it a bit and maybe being like, oh, okay. But on my second read, when I was really focused in, like panel to panel, I was like, I didn't notice that before, and that's really smart. I think this book was just smart. I liked the combination of like different genres, and I liked how it kept that consistent sort of like hazy, like desert feeling throughout it until like the horror elements kicked in. I really like that. And in my opinion, there's nothing scarier than a creepy little hotel off a desert highway. So I loved it. I loved that it played on all the fears that I have and the fears that I love seeing. So I'm going to give it an 9.
9. Great.
Nice.
Okay. Nice. Thank you very much. Philip?
I am just looking up Hotel California lyrics to throw some in there as well, along with Connie's. To be honest, it's not a bad story. Like I said before, it's not. I don't have a lot of negative things to say about the story and the craft and the way they put it together. It is quite clever. They kind of it all intertwines and comes to head towards the end. But there's just a lot of things that, as I mentioned before, it just takes me out of it slightly. I'm not a big fan of overly weird, overly creepy, freaky, hairy baby monsters and whatever else. And it's just, I don't know. So this had good moments. There's no question. Like it did have times where I was enjoying it, but then times where I didn't so much. Again, I think horror can be done really subtly or in your face. This is kind of like not subtle, but not so much in your face. Again, it's not nameless mental. It's still quite mental for me. Saying that, listen how you guys are talking about it, and you know the things that I've missed. Clearly, I've given it half a point extra because I feel like I have to, because I feel like I have missed stuff out. Again, maybe that's because of the subject matter that takes me to the story. Anyway, art was fine. It was good. I appreciate the work. Enjoyed it. Had a good discussion about it. So I'm going to go 6.5.
Oh,
Nice.
Okay.
Thank you very much. We got 1 score in the chat so far. 2 scores. Hopefully we can get a few more. And
don't forget Pete's scores. Don't forget Pete's
that's all.
score from
That's
the
all
start.
done. That's all done.
I loved it. I love a horror book, and this was perfect, right up my alley. The idea that you can read any of the issues if you want as a standalone, or you can read it as a whole. I thought that was a great idea. The tie-ins, like the little nuggets throughout, but the overall premise of, you know, people with inner demons going to a hotel and then manifesting into physical form, I thought was fantastic, just so that the Pierrot clown could feed on them, you know, because he steps out and you think he's going to kill the people, but well, he does kill the bad guy, but he doesn't touch Alice. He takes the baby and he feeds on the baby. I thought it was just such a good idea. It leaves you with questions, like you say, how did the serial killer survive? Did the serial killer survive, or did Kristen manifest him because she decided to stay at the hotel? You know, did Muriel survive Bobby's murder, or did he manifest her again at the hotel? You know, are they the people that they were, or are they just fellow demons? It's just such a cleverly written book, and the art is really good in places. Other places it's okay, but for this story, the art works perfectly, and I love it. And I am definitely this weekend going to be reading volume 2. Gonna definitely find that because I want to know how this finishes. Hopefully Kristen escapes. Hopefully we get closure to her character, because that was the saddest story for me. Her just being locked away with no one knowing where she was. It's just heartbreaking. This is a great horror book. Great way to kick off Halloween month. And I'm going to give this a 9 as well.
Nice.
9. Great, thank you. Okay. What did I think? Yeah, initially going through this book, not exactly a big fan of horror anyway, so getting into this is kind of me going out of my comfort zone in terms of what I like reading. I don't like watching horror. I don't like anything to do with horror, really. But I can really appreciate how it all linked up. And, you know, like Shane said, you can read it single issues or as a whole thing. It's all connected. I even think you could read them out of order as well, and you still may be able to get a kind of gist what's going on, and you won't really lose anything that way. And it is really clever. I love the way it linked up, and you know, I do love a thinker in that kind of, you know, you guys know me. I love a story that makes me think. But I think the fact that I did want to get this done because I don't like horror did make me miss a lot of those things. You know, Connie said she was looking panel and panel and panel. She's looking at them all, scrutinizing them all, and I'm like, nah, go. You know, but you know, because of what you guys have said, it has changed my perspective on the book, and you know, I've been flicking through it while we've been talking here, and I'm going, you know what, that was cool, that was clever. I appreciate this. I didn't notice that kind of stuff. So yeah, so you know, you guys have definitely helped me there, and yeah, the art was fine. You know, you could tell what was going on, who was who, what was what, and everything was happening. Really, really clever book. I can appreciate it, but I won't read it again. But that's my own thing. But I am going to give it an 8.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
There we go. There we go. We've had a very one last minute change. Okay, so we've got the scores in. I've only got 2 scores from yourselves and Connie, if we count her as well. We got a 9 from Pete at the beginning, a 9 from Connie. We had Dean, he said, anthology horror is definitely seeing a revival at the moment, and this absolutely holds its own with the likes of Ice Cream Man and Silver Coin. 9 out of 10. Thank you very much. We also have Martin as well. He says, I may be a bit twisted, but I thought this story was great. The art was cool and has got me ready for Halloween. My final score of season 2 is 7.5, but then he did change it later on and said, I'm going to bump it to an 8. So we've bumped it to an 8. So there we go.
Nice.
And then, so let me just do that. Okay, great. So that gives you, so Pete, Connie, Dean and Martin, you get an average score of 8.8. Combining that with Phil's 6.5, Shane's 9 and my 8, we get a grand total of 8.1.
Ooh.
Which kind of irks me a bit because I'm the only guy who has books that score 8.1. For anyone who's a regular viewer, we know this hasn't hit the top 10, but we'll have a look at it anyway. There it is, your final look at the season 2 top 10. And
Just shy.
This is the rest of the leaderboard, and this book now becomes joint 10th with Skyward Volume 2, The Kill Lock, Chew Volume 1, and Spider-Man Blue, which are all my picks. And now this book gets to join in this little cool crew of 8.1s. But there we go.
It's also the highest ranking Herd's Choice, isn't
it? Yes. Ooh. We haven't got a top 10. Yes, no, you're right. The best Herd's Choice. Well done, Connie.
Way to go, Connie.
It did better than Witches, so I'm happy about that. Yeah. I just wanted to beat myself, so.
And you did it. Competition against
yourself.
So, right. So, usually we do go ahead and tell you guys what we've got coming up next week, but we aren't doing that just yet. We are going to be talking about it and telling you what we're going to be reading next on our end of season roundup show, which will be happening on Sunday. at 8:30 this week, and we will be talking about loads of cool stuff. We'll be talking about pretty much the whole year, what we've liked, what we haven't liked. We've got some cool stats and little fun things to talk about as well. So that's what we'll be doing. We'll be rounding up the whole year, talking about our favourite bits, our least favourite bits, and then we will tell you then what we will start season 3 off with. You know it's going to be horror month, okay? We'll tell you that much, but we're not going to tell you what we're going to start with. So stay tuned, and all that's left to do now is get your waves out. Your last season 2 waves, right? I know everyone that's watching, I know you wave all the time. Make it a good one, okay? Bye. See you Sunday.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Love you.